Hello, my internet handle is NeonTangle11, and I like to make comics. So I decided to make this tutorial to teach other people how to make comics. This is my personal method and can very much be edited for your personal preferences. The first thing I like to do, make big square, divide it up into little squares. These will be the areas where your comic panels are. And inside these comic panels, we can sketch where we want our characters and backgrounds to be. Sketches don't have to be very perfect or polished at this stage. The pros tend to call this thumbnailing. And then at some point, after I have sketches, I like to add dialogue. I just use a font of my own handwriting for this. You can look up how to make those. And even before I refine the sketches, I like to make a new vector layer and put in the frames. Then I like to use the vector eraser. It will automatically delete the lines up until they intersect. Sometimes that helps me get a better idea of where the boundaries of the comic panels really are. It's also very helpful to lower the opacity of your sketch. It'll make it easier to ink later. Then I make another new vector layer for the line art. And I just start trying to ink things in. Maybe don't start inking with a hand. Sometimes it takes a lot of tries to get a line just right. And sometimes you want to edit your sketch after you start inking. Sometimes it is useful to have two sketch colors. Now, after a little bit of line cleanup, we can make a new raster layer, because vector layers don't use fills, and color! Make sure your fill tool is checked to refer multiple and refer all the layers, because then it will stop at your line art. As you can see over here, I have a color palette of all the colors I normally use to make my comics. Maybe I'll make a tutorial on how color palettes work next. Colors are probably the easiest part when you use the fill tool. Now what I normally do next is make another new layer and clip it to the layer below, right above the line art. That way, when we color on this layer, the line art gets colored. And I do this on everything that is not a character. Characters get black outlines all around, everything else gets colors. The only time the characters get colored outlines is when they're wearing something black, like this. The nice thing about vector layers is when you draw on the wrong layer like this, you can select these and paste them onto the vector layer that they belong. So now after we have all our ink and color, I like to select a few areas where the characters are not in the background. And I like to add a texture to it. Let's turn the opacity of the texture down. Maybe use the layer color thing. Give it a little bit of its own color. Then finally I make a shading layer, and I apply a mask to it so that you can't shade certain areas, like the speech bubbles. This one I'm actually going to do something a little different than normal. Because this scene is meant to be at nighttime. I'm actually going to start with the shadows. Once I have the shading penciled, I like to blend it. And ta-da! A finished comic. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial / speed paint. Thank you for watching.